Hi again. Earlier in the week, we looked at a part of the story, Nothing But Trouble. But today, I'm going to read it to you in just a minute. But one thing I want us to talk about when we are reading nonfiction books is that we're going to be looking for key details. Now, in a key detail, you need to be looking for things that could answer these questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. So, who or what could be things like, could it be a person, an animal, a sport, okay? Where did the story take place? Think of the setting. It's very similar to the fiction elements we had before. Was it a city? Was it a town name? Was it in a house? Was it in outer space? When did it occur? What year? Maybe it was a particular month, or was it a historical event? Why did it occur? Especially in a nonfiction story. Why did certain events happen? And how? Was it a natural event? A scientific event? Was it a historical event? So, when you're reading these stories, also think of the key details that you're looking for when you read and see if you can answer these questions. So, I'm going to read to you the Althea Gibson story, and I want you to think about those key details: who, what, when, where, why, and how things happened in the story. So, Nothing But Trouble, the story of Althea Gibson. Althea Gibson was the tallest, wildest tomboy in the history of Harlem. Everybody said so. Her mama said, "Just give that child a nickel for a loaf of bread and see what happens. Soon as she catches sight of those boys playing stickball, my bread is long forgotten." Her daddy said, "That girl stays out so late playing basketball she doesn't even come home some nights." Her teacher said, "Half the time she doesn't even return from recess. I'd see a lot more of Athena if I taught lessons on the playground." The policeman said, "She's a fast runner, all right, but you can't make a sport out of nut and sweet potatoes. That's against the law." I love these old sayings that are in this book. They all said, "Althea Gibson, you're nothing but trouble." Althea didn't care about what they said. She knew she would be somebody someday. Somebody big like Charlie Parker or Sugar Ray. In the meantime, just one thing to care about in this world was the game. Give her a stick, a paddle, a hoop, or a ball, and Althea Gibson was good to go. Buddy Walker was the play leader down on 143rd Street, where Althea lived. At night, he was a musician in one of Harlem's society orchestras. When Buddy watched Althea play paddle tennis, he didn't see nothing but trouble. No, sir. Except maybe for the poor rubber ball. What he saw in Althea was pure possibility. Times were hard, but Buddy scrounged up enough money to buy Althea a stringed tennis racket at a second-hand store. It didn't look like much next to the big wooden paddle Althea normally used for street tennis. After she practiced a little, Buddy asked a friend at Harlem River tennis courts to play a few sets with her. As Althea covered the court, Buddy forgot all about the wild tomboy who roamed the streets of Harlem. Buddy wasn't the only one. Other players stopped their game to get a good look at her. Althea saw the other players watching her. It felt good. Made her feel like she was somebody. "Althea," Buddy said after the game, trying to contain his excitement, "this is Juan Cerro, a friend of mine. We have an idea." Juan Cerro belonged to the Cosmopolitan, the ritziest tennis club in Harlem. All the Sugar Hill Society people belonged there. "You play tennis here," Buddy told Althea, "you can make something of yourself." All the members of the tennis club saw what Althea could do. Buddy and Juan convinced a few of them to pay for lessons with the club's one-armed tennis pro, Fred Johnson. Fred tried to improve Athea's ways on and off the court. While Athea loved playing a new game on a big fancy court, she didn't like being told how to act. Never said I wanted to be a fine lady, she complained to Buddy. Unfortunately for her, the members of the Cosmopolitan didn't like her wild ways either. They shook their heads and whispered, "Nothing but trouble, that one." Miss Rhonda Smith was a nice society lady who bought Athea her first tennis outfit, so she'd look like all the other players on the court. She made time to play regularly with Athea and to instruct her in the polite rules of the sport. "Now, Athea, when a loose ball rolls onto the court, you don't just bat it out of the way in any old direction. You send it back to the player it belongs to. That's how it's done in tennis." "Aw, Miss Smith," Athea muttered, "can't we just play tennis?" Buddy tried to explain the importance of keeping cool. "You've got to decide, Athea. Are you going to play your game, or are you going to let the game play you? When I go to the jazz club, I play like a tiger, but I wear a tuxedo." Athea thought, throwing her tennis racket on the ground. "I don't fit with these rich society folks. I'd rather punch somebody's lights out at Stillman's gym." Buddy said, "Athea, I still believe... ... A year later, Athea was in her first real tennis tournament. She played well, but she lost in the finals to Nana Davis. "After I beat her," Nana told reporters, "she headed straight to the grandstand without bothering to shake my hand. Some kid had been laughing at her, and she was going to throw them out. I tell you, Athea Gibson is nothing but trouble." It took time, a good long time, but slowly Athena learned that wanting to slug her opponents as soon as she started losing her match made her feel like a worse player than if she had kept her cool. With Buddy's help, Athea realized she could dress up in white and act like a lady and still beat the liver and lights out of the ball. Tennis changed Athea, all right, but just as importantly, ... Ever since Miss Gibson rallied in the second set of the women's finals, she has proven to be nothing but trouble for seasoned U.S. and world champion Louise Bra. Athea changed tennis. She did it, ladies and gentlemen. She did it. Athea Gibson has won the championship here at Wimbledon Center Court. With that, Athea Gibson became the first African American man or woman ever to compete and win in the coveted Wimbledon Cup, long considered the highest honor in tennis. And she never did forget the man who first saw the championship of the world in the wildest tomboy in Harlem. It says, "Tonight is the conclusion of a long and satisfying journey. It all started on one of New York's play streets when Buddy Walker and a play street supervisor said, 'Athea, I believe in you, and I believe you could become a good tennis player.' With those words, he handed me my first tennis racket. Tonight, I thank Buddy Walker for a most satisfying victory." So, think about it as we look at our key detail questions again. Who or what? Well, our who was Athena. Where? Mostly in Harlem and in the tennis courts. When? We know it wasn't today, but it was back probably about 50 years ago. Why? Why do you think she loved tennis? Why do you think she played tennis? Because she was good at it and she worked hard. And how? Once again, it's because she had the support of her friends and her family and that one man, Buddy, who had faith in her and knew that she could do it. So, as you continue to read your stories, and especially your nonfiction stories, ask those important few questions, and I guarantee you it will help your reading improve a whole lot more.